We're going to evaluate limit as x approaches 1 of square root of x minus 1 divided by x squared minus 1. As always, we should try to plug in 1 for x to see if we get a finite number, and then the limit would be that finite number. But in this case, of course, it's 0 over 0, which is an indeterminate form, and we must factor the numerator or denominator, manipulate them algebraically in some way to get an answer, either a finite number, which means the limit will exist, or a non-zero in the numerator divided by 0, which means the limit is going to infinity or minus infinity, depending on how we're approaching 0. So there are two ways to solve this problem. The first way is to multiply the numerator, which is square root of x minus 1, by its conjugate. And the conjugate of square root of x minus 1 is square root of x plus 1. We must also divide by square root of x plus 1 to keep the problem the same, not change it. Now, the product of the numerator with its conjugate is square root of x minus 1 times square root of x plus 1. That would be x minus 1. In the denominator, we're going to factor x squared minus 1. That's x minus 1 times x plus 1. And then we still have the conjugate square root of x plus 1. The cos of 0 over 0 has now been found. It's x minus 1, and we can cancel it. And that leaves us with limit x going to 1. The numerator is 1. Denominator is x plus 1 times square root of x plus 1. So plugging in 1 for x, we get 1/2 times 1/2. And that's 1/4, which is the answer. The second way to solve this problem is to first leave the numerator alone. So that's square root of x minus 1, and factor the denominator. That's x minus 1 times x plus 1. We can now take part of the denominator, the x minus 1 part, and factor that. Factoring x minus 1, that's square root of x minus 1 times square root of x plus 1, and then times x plus 1. Once again, this is the cos of 0 over 0, square root of x minus 1. They cancel, and that leaves the limit as x approaches 1 of 1 divided by square root of x plus 1 times x plus 1, which once again is 1/4.